30,000 police at the Fenerbahce-Galatasaray match. What kind of madness is happening in Turkey? Uzbek player Solyanov is underperforming for Roma. A football miracle from Neymar. The Brazilian scored against Suglavov and harshly trolled the rivals' fans. Manchester City is throwing out a good half of the team. The names of the failures have become known. Salah set a New England record, Benzema humiliated Ronaldo, and Luka Modric had the match of his life. We're talking about this and much more today. Friends, this is a dose of football and the top 10 most interesting news to this hour. Friends, 5,000 thumbs up today is a guarantee that a new video will be released tomorrow. Well, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Karim Benzema went to Saudi Arabia. In top form, the Frenchman remained the leader of Real Madrid, reaching the semi-finals of the Champions League. They expected Benz to shoot in the East even more than Cristiano Ronaldo, but something went wrong. Karim terribly realized the moments and scored little overall. Here, of course, it is worth noting the conflicts with the coaches. In essence, it was Benzema who fired Nuno Espirito Santo from Al Ittihad, the coach who won the championship with the team. And now Nuno has given Nottingham Forest their best season in the Premier League in a decade. But he didn't please Benzema, just like the legend of South American football, Marcelo Gallardo. In addition to Karim not getting along with the coaches, he couldn't adapt to the team's style. Al Ittihad played very straightforward, and Karim was used to dropping back almost to the role of a false nine. In classic style, he overfocused on the leap, leaving Al Ittihad with insufficient players in the penalty area. With the arrival of Laurent Blanc, Benz blossomed, and now he scores a lot. He recently compared his league goal tally to that of Cristiano Ronaldo, who plays for Al Nassr. Benz's situation differs. He frequently drops back to assist partners in launching attacks. In the box, his club mates nearly fear him, like the halfback Aouar. Though not perfect, Benz has significantly improved in adapting to Al Ittihad's style. Thanks to Blanc, whom forward knows from the French national team. For Karim, this season is another chance to prove that he is no worse than Ronaldo. Obviously, Benz has some resentment towards the Portuguese after so many years in his shadow. Before the crucial matches, both forwards smile sweetly and hug, but on the field they are more tense and charged than usual. They lash out at referees or teammates when things go wrong. Benzema also jabbed at Kira in a recent interview. Kira claimed that he is the best in football history, but Benz commented on it like this: everyone says what they want if he considers himself the best in history. For me, for example, the best is Ronaldo from Brazil. But now Karim can't get away with it, and he knows about Ronaldo's character, that the Portuguese called Lineker when he called Messi the best in history. And now Krish will definitely be offended by Karim's words and will use them for motivation in the upcoming meeting. Last year, Pep Guardiola signed a new contract with Manchester City. Despite the crisis, the Catalan believed in his strength and decided he would overcome everything. But everything turned out to be not so simple. Guardiola has already broken a number of personal records. What else will happen? The average number of missed goals in the championships for Guardiola before this season was a whole 73 goals per match. Currently, City's statistics are twice as bad, showing a remarkable decline. In a single match, Guardiola faced more humiliation than his entire prior career. A shameful match with Sporting in the Champions League, an exit from the Champions League even before the quarterfinals, an early exit from the English Cup, a rout from Arsenal with his own student at the helm, the fourth line in the championship with the risk of falling even lower. And all this somehow does not fit with Pep. The crisis may have kept Guardiola at Manchester City. He had already hinted at his interest in coaching the England team last season, suggesting he dreams of working with national teams. But the position of City made him think Pep did not want to abandon the club, which on the one hand gave so much, and on the other hand is so obligated. Moreover, Guardiola probably liked the challenge, and he gladly picked up the thrown gauntlet. After all, it was necessary to get to the bottom of the problem and learn something new about football. And so Pep set about fixing his broken machine, but it just doesn't work out. In fact, things are so bad that there's no sign of any chance of recovery. City's positional defense is poor and their press is ineffective. Honestly, I have doubts that Guardiola can still fix the situation. Wonderful and unusual stress, wife's nagging, and everything else probably distract Pep from thinking straight. He needs to gather strength somewhere far away from European battles. Fortunately for the coach, he has a great chance for a paid vacation right after the hellish season. According to reports, one of the Saudi clubs has contacted Guardiola and offered him to lead the team. And a salary, several times exceeding the one that Pep receives in Manchester. The coach needs a break, even if it's just for his own health, and the generous sheikhs are happy to provide it, paying City a hefty fee for the legendary coach. Real Betis is the perfect place to resurrect his career. Having become the head coach at Real Madrid and drastically failing Isco, he flourished under the guidance of the well-known Manuel Pellegrini. Last season he played top match after top match, collected awards and only missed the Euro with the Spanish national team due to injury. In a recent match against Getafe, halfback scored a double. Playing alongside him is Anthony, who is doing everything to earn a second chance at one of the grand tournaments. The footballer is so good at Betis that, as Fichais writes, Juventus wants him. Thiago Motta is just lacking a productive winger, and Anthony at Betis is just one of those. The main thing is that the Manchester version of the Brazilian did not come to Turin. Anthony is very ambitious and technically small. In terms of discipline and work without the ball, he had no complaints in Manchester, but in Betis he transformed on the ball and when moving in attack. There is a feeling that in reality he did not start playing differently. Anthony simply ended up in a lively team, where everyone understands their place, in a team where there is order on the field, not chaos. Wenger found himself in favorable circumstances, allowing him to excel and dominate in La Liga. However, as ideal as Betis was for unlocking potential, someone couldn't even play in the state of pickles, and even Rocky can't make it in Betis. He slowly became a reserve player. The unsuccessful Novo Suarez will return to Palmeiras in Brazil, as he writes. A Barcelona source stated that Betis and Palmeiras were expected to finalize all necessary transfer documents yesterday. Barcelona will receive 25 million euros for the forward, as well as 20% of the sum of his next transfer. What future was predicted for him? And in the end, the not-so-rich Barca only exacerbated its financial problems with this purchase. Inter Miami started the season with a minimal victory in a match against Kansas City. Lionel Messi scored the only goal in this meeting. And right after the final whistle, Mexican referee Marco Antonio Ortiz approached Leo to ask for his jersey. The Argentine asked the referee to wait for the gift in the locker room. Players can change uniforms after a match, but there are rules. For instance, it's best not to stuff jerseys before the match or during halftime. They won't understand. After crucial games, such as cup matches, where a team gets eliminated, it's preferable to swap jerseys in the locker room. Ideally, the moment wouldn't be caught on camera, but I've seen a couple of times in friendlies where the referee asked for a player's jersey. Yes, perhaps. But after official matches like the Confederation of African Football Confederation Cup, to put it mildly, the tone is harsh. The Confederation of African Football Administration decided the same. Ortizonov received a severe punishment. The referee was suspended from officiating Confederation of African Football tournaments for 6 months. Even the fact that the referee took Messi's uniform for his relative with limited health opportunities did not save him. Yes, it seems like a good deed, but a judge should not only be impartial, but also appear to be so. Usually it's easier with the second point, but here, the referee messed up exactly with it. The scandal arose literally on the spot. Internet opinions are split. Some think the judge acted appropriately, while others fully support the organization. Poor referee lost his job because of Messi, haters will say. Well, it's only about international tournaments. In Mexico, Cortes has not yet been sanctioned, and it seems they do not plan to. Luka Modric led Real Madrid to victory against Girona, scoring a stunning career-best goal. However, his performance was not solely defined by this strike. From the start of the season, 2017, he became the sole player to achieve over 100 accurate passes, 5+ key passes, and score in a single La Liga match. Vinicius' goal also owes a lot to the Croatian. It was Modric who launched that counter-attack. Havertz also made 6 passes for a shot more than any other footballer on the field. But perhaps what surprised most was Modric's defensive play. Despite being nearly 40, Luka ran around the defense with the agility of a much younger player. How many times did he scare Mendy and retrieve the ball? Modric acted very competently, immediately evident. He covered both flanks, avoiding isolation, and stayed engaged in the action until the end. Just perfect, a match from a legend. After the game, Carlo Ancelotti showered Modric with compliments, calling him a gift to football, so he should continue to play as much as he wants. He does what he's not very good at, and Real Madrid is lucky to have such a legend in their squad. Carlo suggests to Real Madrid's management that it's too early to send Modric to rest. Despite his advanced age, Florentino Perez is a usual nanny with veterans. He only feels that someone is giving up, he immediately puts them out the door. The president was criticized earlier for not knowing how to bid farewell to legends. Well, with Modric it seems he really can't or doesn't want to say goodbye. After all, as Fabrizio Romano told, now the leadership of the creamy ones are really thinking about re-signing the Croat. Interesting, does Modric even think about finishing or at least leaving to play somewhere with a much weaker level of play? While Ronaldo is often praised for his discipline and health, Modric may be even more impressive in this regard, despite it seeming impossible to top the Portuguese star. But a lot depends on genetics. In any case, huge respect for Luka. To play at such a level at his age is something unbelievable. Paul Pogba is about to play football at an official level again. The disqualification of the Frenchman for artificially raising the level of testosterone will end in March. Paul Hunti Marcel, the club's sports director Mehdi Benati, confirmed the interest. Also, Pogba is called to Major League Soccer halfback only fueled the rumors, appearing in the company with the owner of Inter Miami, David Beckham. Imagine how strong Miami will become within the Major League Soccer if Pogba also joins the team. Zapli already has a strong lineup. The old Catalan guard is still coming up with combinations that the younger generation could not dream of. And Zapli is often forgotten, after long throws from Sergio Busquets. In Major League Soccer, most teams play actively and do not sit back in their penalty area, and Busquets punishes them for their high defensive line. And if Inter signs another long ball genius like Pogba, then any club that thinks about moving the defense closer to the center of the field will inevitably face a banana-type pass. Paul can spin them using both feet. Next, Messi will deal with Warsaw, but there are two buts. Miami doesn't have money for another top player. Yes, if there were, the club would have limited the financial fair play rules. Rumors suggest Paul himself plans to return to Europe and play in the top league. According to Men's Information, Pogba recently met with Ruben Amorim and discussed a possible return to Manchester United. The club's management was initially doubtful about the transfer, but Pogba's importance has grown considerably due to the French side's injury crisis. The club is planning to offer Paul a short-term contract under strict conditions. Paul Pogba is eager to return, and if Manchester United can convince him to stay, let's say by creating such contract conditions where some achievements need to be demonstrated, then why not? In the next 6 months, Pogba, highly motivated, will dominate his opponents. Just remember the World Championship in Russia. It's nearly official. This summer, Manchester City will release 7 top players. Restructuring rumors have circulated for a while, but for me, they stayed as just rumors until yesterday. One of the most reliable publications in football, and specifically journalist Sasha Tavaleri, reported that City is planning to part ways with a number of players. According to Pep Guardiola, these footballers will never be able to return to their best level. Pep holds this opinion about Jack Grealish, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, John Stones, Mateo Kovacic, Ilkay Gundogan, and Ederson. For some players, like Ilkay Gundogan, I agree with Pep that they are no longer young. Their peak has passed, and they likely won't consistently play at the same level as before. 29-31, which is not old for a goalkeeper. Kuchishi, Stones, and Silva are in their 30s as CP. Observe how 32-year-old Salah is leading Liverpool. While this is an exceptional case, the guys can still contribute significantly to football. Perhaps their cycle just ended at Manchester City. No matter what, Pep will put the entire 7 up for sale. This is currently the team's core, but the bosses will completely replace it. City are already planning summer transfers for the departing players. The club is in talks with the agent of Juventus defender Andrea Cambiaso, who they wanted to sign in the winter transfer window. The same applies to the midfielder Tariq Samuels, Richie. The first technician and scheduler, although he plays in defense, fits perfectly into Pep's team, and Juve will definitely let him go. The second player is a classy defensive-minded support, but not at Rodri's level, which is hard to match. 2 or 3 players in the whole world that you can't buy, and they might compete with him for 100 million euros. The citizens are also keeping an eye on Florian Wirtz, about whom everything has already been said. But City will have a hard time winning the fight against the other grands, especially against Real Madrid. If you've already written off Neymar, then hurry up. The Brazilian reminded us of himself again. In the match of Paulista against Inter, Neymar Lemera made 2 head passes and also put on a real show from the corner, scoring with a direct hit. Despite this, Inter fans were booing throughout the match, and when he was taking one of the corners, they started shouting the name of his ex-girlfriend. And what do you think Neymar did? He defiantly asked to turn up the sound, then successfully made and completed one of his assists. Appreciate Neymar's masterpiece from the corner and his clever response to trolling on our TV channel. The link is in the description and pinned comment. There's lots of interesting stuff there. We work without days off from morning till the deepest night. Let's hope the Brazilian continues to perform such beauty in the future. You see, he'll return to Europe as Barca dreams, waits, can't wait. South American football is still not quite top 5 leagues, but there's plenty of trash. Here's the news from Copa Uruguay. In the match between Paysandu and Soriano, the guest player Gonzalez first kicked one of the opponents in the head and then almost knocked out another opponent with a powerful right-hand punch. He got up from the lawn and couldn't continue the game. Probably he has a broken jaw. Fights in football are not uncommon, but they usually don't turn into full-fledged ones, no matter how heated the passions are. Gonzalo clearly crossed the line, sending his opponent to the hospital. Now the Uruguayan faces a potential lifetime ban from football. I can't say it's a deserved punishment after all. Okay, half a year, okay, a year, but lifetime. On the other hand, it's unlikely anyone would want to play against such a lunatic. Robert Lewandowski has signed a new contract with Barcelona and has no plans to leave the club yet, but in Blaugrana they are already considering options for his replacement. The Catalans are reportedly targeting Juventus's Akinano Eldiza due to their dissatisfaction with the current situation. They are confident the Turk will fit into Barca, but he will be costly for them. They must at least agree to sell him. According to the source, Turin will let the footballer go for 80 million. And all because of the economic problems, which were exacerbated by the departure from the Champions League. Yıldız's versatility makes him a valuable player, as he can play in any attacking position. If anyone gets injured, Kenan steps in. As long as Lewandowski plays for Barca, Yıldız will feature more as a forward or winger. And when Robert gets a rest, he steps in as a forward and gets used to being the team's main striker after Louis leaves. Anyway, Kenan seems to be more of a supporting player, not a finisher, so he might not score that many goals himself. The Rafinha plant with Jamal will start to shut down more than before. But if Barca specifically needs a pure 9, such a player can be found in Juventus. Dusan Vlahovic just happened to be tied to the bench after the transfer of Randal Kolumoni. The next one is not yet complaining about the motto, losing places at the base. I'm calm, I'm a professional, I always think about the interests of the team, and I'm ready to give everything when needed. I know a lot is expected of me. The Serb is not one of those who agrees to sit on the bench and only appear on the field as a joker. And Juve is also not satisfied with this option, because Vlahovic has the highest salary in Serie A. According to Todd Fichais, Barcelona is indeed considering Dusan as a potential replacement for Lewandowski. Truth be told, I don't quite understand how the forwards will survive in the squad even for one season, but it's more visible to Laporte and the rest. The Istanbul derby is one of the hottest in football, if not the hottest. English hooligans no longer rampage like in the good old days. But in matches between Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, fights in the stands and on the field occur regularly. And the authorities are so fed up with this that yesterday they filled the stadium with law enforcement officers. There were, just think about it, as many as 30,000 people in uniform at the match. They controlled the situation even in the very important person boxes and handled everything. Based on the time, the referee effectively managed the players on the field. Surprisingly, even Jose Mourinho praised the referees for their excellent and fair work in the very good match. Good game, watched by many in Europe and here. They drew and are very happy, but were unsatisfied. Fenerbahce was indeed the best, and in the end, Galatasaray came. Unfortunately, time ran out, and it appears Moro will remain without a championship. Roma beat Monza in Italy with a partially reserved squad. Shomurodov deserves a special mention. The Uzbek scored and made a header pass. It was just in time. The forward keeps the ball healthy with his body, pushing off opponents, and he also quickly realizes, even with all his inherent complexity, he is very technical in the lift. And of course he carries a lot in the press, and right now he even looks better. Such an expensive dove pick. The Ukrainian in Rome is somehow very wooden and boring, not at all the one that was in Girona. Nobody believed in Shomurodov. Roma tried to snatch him in the summer, but now Eldor is pulling the team. Yesterday he was one of the best on the field. 3 points, and such a confident victory. For the first time, this is a tribute to Uzbek, a great match in his performance. Thanks for watching and subscribing. See you next time. My name is Kirill Cast. This was your daily dose of football. Peace to your house and to your Hangay friends.